So, in my last video, I was listening to an English learner and her accent, and I've said to her, I listen to your accent, and I feel like you have gotten to a stage where you will feel like you're putting so much work into it, you're putting so much effort into it, you're trying to improve your accent so much. But you may feel like there are no improvements or just very little. And it may be super frustrating. I believe that once you have improved your pronunciation, you will get to a stage where it becomes really difficult to improve your accent and your pronunciations. I'm going to share with you why I think this is. This is my theory. I believe it's right. Let me know if you agree or not. So, when you are trying to improve your pronunciation, you have started your journey in accent reduction. This is what it will look like. You start here, you have a very thick accent. So each of these magnets represent sounds, probably from your native language, that you are using in your spoken English. That might make it difficult for people to understand you, or it will show other people that English is not your first language because you're mispronouncing some sounds. When you want to reduce your accent, and you want to reduce it strategically, it's ideal to start with the sounds that are more problematic, more obvious. So I use this example all the time. Let's say it's the TH sound. Let's say this one represents the TH sound. In the beginning, you are unable to pronounce this sound. But with the help of, I don't know, videos or hiring an accent coach or whatnot, you learn how to properly pronounce the sound. Okay. So you can pronounce it. But once you start speaking, conversing with people, you're not able to necessarily pronounce the sound. So the idea is to learn how to pronounce it and then to practice it and practice and practice and make sure that you use it in your target language in English. And as you practice and use it over and over, it becomes a habit. So the TH becomes a habit and it becomes like your new accent. So it's reduced. Do you see? There's a lot less, mispronunciations or pronunciation problems because you've mastered it. So once you've mastered the sound, you can go back here and say, well, which sound is more obvious? Which sound makes me sound like English is not my first language? We'll choose probably this one. And boom. And maybe even do work on two at a time. I don't know. And then we ideally move it there. And some learners may realize, I've heard this among my students, they'll be able to pronounce a sound and it becomes a habit. But sometimes when they start using sentences or do things that are more difficult, that take energy, sometimes, the sound kind of goes back in certain circumstances. Like if they're starting a new job, they're learning new vocabulary. Sometimes I find, and I found this myself too, when I'm learning like new words or new sentences, sometimes certain sounds that I thought I mastered or that I did master tend to be mispronounced once in a while. So don't be discouraged if that happens. Then, we work on sounds, slowly move them over. So what's cool about these is that it takes less effort. Like you master the sound. Let's say you master, the TH. And your accent sounds like, wow, 50% better or 70% better. And then this might be another like 20%. And this might be another like 5%, right? And then you get to the end where your accent is like, I don't know. Let's say your accent becomes like 92% like a native speaker with an American accent. Wow. And then we do this. This is like, let's say 5%. Oop. We master that. So your accent is like now 97% like a native English speaker with an American accent, if I did my math right. Then these ones, you might have to work just as hard or harder because you might not even see them. Okay, do you see them? Like you might not even hear them when you're speaking English. And this is the part where I feel like you need an English coach, an accent reduction coach, to really identify these sounds or these speaking patterns that you may not realize. And then you'll try to work on them. Oh, that was 98%. And then there's like these little magnets, like these ones. I don't know if you can see, but there's like 4 little magnets here. So these might be like 4 little like pronunciation patterns. When that one's like 0.5%. So you get the 0.5%, and then another 0.5%. And maybe this one is like a 0.1%. Oops. So it gets harder and harder to identify the sounds and master them. And these might just be random words eventually, like little random words that are hard to pronounce. But anyways, that's why at the very end, you have to work so hard to identify these little problems, learn how to pronounce them, and then learn how to master them in day-to-day English and choose them as a habit so that they become a part of your accent. And at the very end of really mastering and perfecting your accent, it's hard. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work for little progress. Whereas in the beginning, no little to medium amount of work to have like bigger improvements, if that makes sense. So I'm hoping that helps. Helps you know that you're not alone if you feel like you're not making any progress near the end of, perfecting and improving your American accent or whatever accent you're trying to achieve. So if you want to improve your pronunciation, maybe work on connected speech, feel free to click right here. I have some videos for you. Or if you'd like to, watch some Judge My Accent videos, feel free to click down here. Anyways, I'm hoping this was helpful. Take care and bye-bye.